We're going to give our AI access to our live business data. You set up your AIOS to know your business context, and now it'll have the actual live business data to give you updates instead of your team telling you. The best business coaches will tell you to track your KPIs, and today we're finally going to do that. By the end of this video, your AIOS will pull in live business data so you can track it and allow AI to see the status of your business. This is a fully customizable part of the system, and I even have my own AIOS tracking my business data daily. Now, let's get into your Data OS. Data is everything. It tells a story. It'll tell you the ups of your business and what's going well, and it'll tell you the downs of your business and what to fix. And you yourself might not be good at looking at your data, but AI definitely is. It can help you fix the things that you're not seeing, especially because AI is really good at seeing the trends in your data. And so the data layer is the second layer of an AI operating system. This is your live business numbers. It's also your communications. You're going to put it all into one central database, and AI will be able to search through it and reference every piece of data to give you stronger results. I want you to think of each section of your business, your marketing, your operations, sales, whatever else. Each section has its own set of business data that tells a story. And so I want you to think about the most impactful numbers from each one. This might be your leads, your sales call, closing percentage, how fast you deliver something, all that kind of stuff. And you'll probably come up with things that are prevalent to your business. I do YouTube, so I track my YouTube numbers daily. And you might do a different social media platform for your content, and that'll have its own set of analytic numbers that you need to track. And so the first thing I want you to do is actually think through every section thoroughly. Think of any possible piece of business data where you could give to AI and actually have it help you. We're going to use this to build our Data OS. And while you might be thinking to yourself that you might forget something in your data points and you don't want to miss anything, so you're a little worried. But just like the context, AI is good at getting the ideas out of you. Instead of trying to remember everything yourself, we're going to let AI help us do this too. And to do that, we're going to make it run another interview on us to drag out all the possible KPIs in your business. And so again, you don't know what you don't know. Like our context, we used an interview to drag out everything that we couldn't think of. And so you don't want to miss anything, but you're not even sure what pieces of data might be lying in an app that you use that you've never even heard of. We're going to do the same thing as in the context video, and we're going to allow Claude to interview you, ask you what apps you use, in which departments of your business, and it'll help you jog your memory. And so continuing with Claude Code, I'm going to drop in our first prompt of the video. I'm going to hit enter, pause the video so you can read it, but once again, it'll be in the description where you can copy and paste it. And so before it starts, we're going to read through it. I want you to interview me about my business to build out a data layer for our AIOS. Run this as a real interview, one question at a time. Don't dump a list. Go through my business department one at a time, marketing, sales, operations, finance, and any other that applies. Ask for each one I actually check and care about regularly. Don't let me skip communications. So that's your Fathom, your team chat, that kind of stuff. And if I give you a vague answer, follow up. Once we covered every department, summarize everything into a clean, organized file. Now we have this interview that we're gonna walk through, and we'll come back when I've answered everything so we can see the results. Do this on your end and compare what we both get. After answering every question, it's got back to me with a whole list of different things that we're wanting to track within my business. I did this quickly, so you probably want to be very in-depth with what you're answering with, but it has everything from marketing, sales, finance, operations, communications, what I left out, some information for me to notice here, and then it asked me, do I want to write this up as a context data sources.md. We want this in our context specifically because it will allow Claude to figure out where to pull from in the future. So we're just going to say yes. Yes, add this as a data sources.md, hit enter, and that should show up in our context folder. Now you have all these data sources listed, but you're worried you won't know how to connect them. But that's not as hard as you think it is. I'm going to say words you might not understand, but I don't want you to worry. I'm going to explain them, and you will get your connection set up. After you walk through this next section with me, you're going to be a step ahead of the game than everybody else who's not even trying to learn. And the next portion is exactly how AI is going to be able to grab the analytic data, and without it, it's guessing or needs an unoptimized workaround. Your data is everywhere, and setting up the connections will allow AI to pull it all into one place. And to not have a messy workaround, AI uses special quote-unquote passwords or capabilities to gather them. These are called API, MCP, or CLI. And the easiest and the oldest method is the API. Today, we're going to set up 2 API keys, which are just the special passwords that connect to something. I'm going to show you a tool called Composio, which allows you to use one API key to connect to multiple tools, which should make it easier on you. And I'm also going to show you a standard API connection, just in case Composio doesn't have anything for the app you're looking for. And so we head over back to Claude Code. And the first thing we need to do is ask Claude to create a .env file for us. And so that's what I'm going to tell it. Create a .env file so we can add API keys and you can use them for gathering data. And so that should figure it out. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go over to my web browser and log into Composio and Fathom just so that we can use their API keys and get us going. And so first we're in Composio, sign up for a Composio account, and I'm in the dev view, which should be just easy switch from up here for you to platform. We're going to click new project, name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it demo, create project. You can see a whole bunch of stuff in here, but we don't really care that much. We just care about API keys. We're going to create an API key. I'm going to name mine tests, name yours whatever you want. You're going to want read and write all. Click create and copy this token right here. And so then you're going to take it back to your Claude Code that's created your env file here. And by asking it to create the env file, it actually used the data sources to go and actually create the different ones that you listed within your interview. And so down here, I'm just going to do Composio API key equals, and then paste, and then save the document. So Composio itself makes it pretty easy because I can go back to it over here. I can go toolkits, and then you can see I can go and pick every different thing that I want out of Composio. And so I'm going to click, let's say YouTube, for example. I can do add to project, next, OAuth 2, Composio managed, all the scopes selected, create auth config. And then you would want to go in here and connect your account. And so with that, back to the toolkits here, I can connect to anything in here that Composio allows me to. And so that's why I say it's much easier to just use Composio, because I only need to set up one API key, where you saw it would need me to connect to all of these different ones. Now, if Composio doesn't have something in here, so like if I go to Fathom, it does have Fathom, but say Fathom was not actually present in here, say it was just not there, you should actually look in the actual app that you want to use. And so if I come to Fathom, I'll go over to the settings tab. I'll scroll down until I find API access. I click add, generate API key. I name it. I have the key here. I copy it with the little command, click continue. And then I go back to my env file and I find the Fathom API key, paste, save, ready to go. And so how do we actually test that either of these worked? That's pretty simple. We can just ask Claude to. I didn't set up anything in Composio, so I'm going to test my Fathom API key. So I'm going to go to a new session and just ask, I added my Fathom API key. Can you please test it and tell me what the latest call was about and who it was with? If I go to Fathom here, this call was with a guy from my networking group named Andra. And so that's what should come up. And so you can see it coming in here, latest call, networking chat with Andra, what it was about, CLA networking group, all that kind of stuff. And so it's easy to test with the Fathom one. With the Composio, you need to make sure your account's set up. It might take a bit longer to test them, but it should be roughly the same process. Ask it to test your Composio key with the specific connection that you want it to touch. I hope everything's made sense to you so far, and that Claude is actually properly connected to your APIs now to grab your data. If you're enjoying this, please subscribe. I post regular videos every Tuesday and Friday, but now we can get back into it. And so now, how do we turn this into something Claude can actually use and learn from? With these connections, Claude can get the data for you every day, but if it doesn't have a place to store it, it can't actually see the trends. Instead of storing our data in something random and unstructured, we need Claude to be able to have access quickly so it's actually useful. So the next thing we're going to do is actually set up a structured database for Claude to pull from whenever it references your data. One instance of your data doesn't really tell you anything, but regular pieces of connected data do. AI can't tell you anything with one piece of data, but it can easily see patterns in a week's or a month's worth that actually show you a trend of things moving upward or downward. Messy data can't really do that. It needs to be structured, so AI can give you your answers efficiently. And so we're going to create an SQLite database, and SQLite is just a database structure. You don't really need to worry about it. But generally, it's specific data tables for specific data. Each of those tables have different columns and rows to track things. Our database is going to give each data source its own table to track it accurately, and that's what AI is going to reference to see all of our numbers. And so we go back into Claude Code once again. I'm going to start a fresh session, and I've got another prompt for you to build this database. I'm going to paste it in here, and this one might go a little over your head, but bear with me. It's specifically meant for AI to build this database, and I'll give you a light explanation of what it's doing. So I've just entered it, and we can read it here. I want you to set up a simple SQLite database in this workspace to store my business data. First, check the workspace for anything that tells you what data sources I already have connected. And so that's what that data sources MD and the env file will do for us. Use whatever you can find. If you can't find anything, ask me directly. Once you know what I'm tracking, build it like this, SQLite database file, data source its own table, add one more table that logs every run, and then write a script that pulls in data. And so we're just going to let this run. It'll probably come back to me because I didn't set up my Composio correctly, but I did set up my Fathom, and that's what I'll probably show you in the test. Answer any questions it might have. It'll probably surface things about your data connections. If a data connection is messed up, simply ask it how to fix it and to tell you step-by-step instructions on operating in a different window. And we come back and it's finished now. We can see I told it to just do Fathom, and it took that and just added that information. If you want to be able to view your database, just come to your extensions if you're in VS Code and look for the SQLite viewer in the extensions. Just search it up and install it. And then you can click on something like this and actually have it show you. But what we can see in here, we have meeting invitees, the actual Fathom meetings. This is just a sequence. This is our collection runs every time it's ran to collect something. And so all of our data is in here, and Claude can make use of it. You can see it also created a script for collecting them. You can also see the Claude.md should have been updated. I installed modules, the data collector. We have the data sources, the env, everything in here, the data folder. And so now you should have your first piece of data in that database, but you definitely don't want to be running this manually every day. And so how do we actually get AI to do that for us? It's a pretty standardized and routine job. We saw the script that Claude Code runs to gather your data. And since this is just a script, AI can easily run that for us. It can even actually set up the automated run as well. And so knowing how to set up scheduled jobs like this will put you ahead of the game compared to everyone else using AI. So the next thing we're going to do is actually set up a scheduler on our computer to have AI run this for us. There's no actual payoff if you have to run the data gathering by hand. All we are doing manually is telling AI to run a script. And so why not tell AI to tell your computer to run the script automatically on a schedule? And so that's exactly what a schedule job on our computer is and what we're going to set up. This basically means what I just said. Your computer in the background has a clock on it that you can assign these jobs to for specific tasks to automatically run at a set time during the day. The scheduled job we're going to set up is just the same script that we had Claude run earlier. It's the collect data from the APIs and add it to the database. And so setting up something like this is pretty simple because we're going to have AI do it for us using another prompt. So we're going to come back into Claude Code for one more prompt here. and I'm going to paste it in, but I don't run it because this is a demo. I don't want a random scheduled job coming on my computer, but we will go over the prompt. The prompt here is, I want to put my data collection on a schedule. Before you schedule anything, have it audit. Look what you actually have in the database compared against what the collector script actually pulls. If there's a data table that isn't actually actively being collected, something I added or added since we first built this, add it to the collector. Once the collector covers everything in the database, set it up to run automatically once a day, early in the morning, using whatever schedule tool you're running. So Task Scheduler on Windows computers and cron or LaunchD on Macs. Make sure it logs every run, when it ran, whether it's exceeded, how many records came in. And then when you're done, tell me exactly how to check that it actually ran in the morning. I'm not going to run it. What will that look like? Well, every morning at the time it decides or the time you specify, you should be getting something in here that has a collection run with the specific time. It will have a started at and finished at, and it should have every data source in here updated. And you can generally check it against data that's easily accessible. For example, with your Fathom, if you have a meeting between the time you set it up and the next day, and then the next day's run goes, you should have that new meeting in your meetings tab. And on the next day, if it didn't pull something or something went wrong, all you simply need to do is ask AI to look into it, fix the problem, and ask you for anything it might need. It's pretty simple. AI is smart enough to figure it out on its own. Every prompt I use in this video is in the description. You can go grab them and paste them directly into your workspace. And if you want to keep growing your AIOS with me, please subscribe. The next layer is the intelligence layer, and this is where that data is actually going to start helping you make decisions on the go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.